Sure, certainly in some ways. I mean, I'm not, I am
Out
by
there.
no means providing counseling services, and I don't think that's appropriate for an attorney to do. But we certainly are there to provide or get them the support that they need.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's wrap this one up as well.
I have a couple questions,
Go ahead.
if I could. Adam, how do you want it, if we're going to categorize this or take an angle on it? Is it about sexual abuse, or is it more about malpractice? Do you have a sense of, like, if you're going to, from a keyword perspective, if you're going to want to attract other types of cases like this, which angle do you think we would take?
From a marketing perspective, and the way I think clients think about it, it's an abuse case.
Okay. All right.
Now, if you're asking me technically how it's phrased, it's framed as a malpractice case.
Sure. Because that's where the money is. I mean, that's where you can get a civil
Well, that's how you get recovery.
remedy.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Okay. Then my other question, just and I don't know whether then it will be appropriate, but I would like to just hear from you on this, is if you are a patient, or in this case a victim, working with a professional, whether it's a therapist or even other professionals, are there things that just a person who is already vulnerable should be looking out for? Are there certain types of standards of practice or ethics that different professionals are required to abide by? And if so, I don't know if you can enumerate those, but where would a person go to find out, am I being victimized by my professional?
Yeah, I mean, with respect to psychologists, psychiatrists, and counselors, and therapists, and social workers, if they are there to relate with you and establish commonality with you based upon your experiences, that's a telltale sign of a potential abusive relationship or attempt to establish some sort of improper therapeutic relationship. Because the first thing that all these guys or girls do is establish commonality and life experiences in order to gain trust. Oh, hey, this person will get me because they've been through it. And a therapist, it is never appropriate for a therapist to take a patient's life experiences, their transference of that information onto the therapist, and then counter-transfer from the therapist back to the patient's relatable scenarios. It's a transference, counter-transference issue. And that's kind of the first step. Without that, I mean, they're really, I have never experienced, unless it's just a flat-out forcible rape situation, I've never experienced a situation where a relationship, an inappropriate, there hasn't been a heavy aspect of improper communication between the client and the patient and the therapist.
Sure. Which is even more, especially when you're talking about therapists or psychologists or what have you, because I mean those individuals are already psychologically vulnerable, and I'm sure it's very difficult for them to have a clear head, so to speak, about that relationship, right?
Yeah, they already feel isolated in some sense based upon a tragic life experience or feeling of isolation, or like something's wrong with them, right? And so we all, as human beings, we all like to relate to someone. And when you establish a connection with someone, it's much easier to mistake, a friendship with maybe something more, and it's never appropriate for a therapist to be trying to establish a friendship with a patient. And so if you feel that way, if you feel like they're trying to establish a friendship, if you feel like if they're sharing personal information about themselves and their lives, if their therapy is not directed towards solely you and understanding your issues and providing coping mechanisms, then there's something wrong.
Got it.
Either it's a bad therapist or they're grooming you.
Right. And I know this case was settled. I don't know if you've got other cases, if you've got experience with this, but are the damages that they can recover, are you only able to recover damages for like law, for pay, like holding them on
yeah.
for
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, are there
So,
any other damages?
So just like any case, you can recover non-economic and economic damages, but as I'm sure you can imagine, the thing that most people are affected by are the non-economic part, which is the emotional abuse, pain and suffering, blah 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 blah, stress, anxiety, humiliation. And so those damages right now are capped. Now there's legislation in Ohio right now to lift those caps, and there's actually stuff going around all over the country to make sure that there's no caps, and I think Ohio eventually will lift those caps. They were supposed to pass it last year, but it got caught up in all the election stuff happened. So the hope is that non-economic damages will be uncapped here in Ohio soon. Right now they are. But certainly you can recover economic damages. So, for example, like in the Chamberlain case, what we used to get over the caps was the fact that, look, she had missed other job opportunities or had not pursued other job opportunities because of the dependence that had been developed. You can always collect or recoup whatever you paid for the therapy that was improperly provided. So disgorgement of medical bills previously paid, future therapy for victims that these victims need to now cope with the second, third, or first round of abuse that they sustained. All those things are recoverable. All those types of economic damages are recoverable. Hey, you missed work because you're embarrassed of what happened, and all that stuff is recoverable, just like in any other case. It's just, most people and most juries, when they're awarding value, I mean, they view it as a victim, somebody's person was violated, and those are all non-economic damages. Just like, you break your leg, it hurts. You go through this, it hurts. And so those are non-economic.
Got it. Okay. Great. That's really, really good information. Thank you. That's all I got.
Okay. Thanks. Great questions, Kim. One last thing. How much are we able to use from the mediation statement? If we, is changing names sufficient, or should we leave some of Wendy's past out so she's not so easily, identifiable? That's a pretty
specific.
Yeah, the answer is I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to read it and think about it.
Okay.
I think what I think some detail is fine. I think you can say a lot of this without getting into specifics.
Yeah.
We don't.
Just a very
we don't.
Very tumultuous past or something.
Yeah, right. And we don't need to list the calls or say
right.
And say where she was, and there are a million markers in there that taught that. She had been previously abused and all sorts of stuff that you could say generally that I think I'll be okay with.
Okay.
But obviously don't want, hey, she joined. I can't think of the name of the group she became part of.
Scientists.
It was something out of Hawaii. They're similar to Hare Krishnas, but in Hawaii. And
okay.
just I mean, if I need to revise it, I will.
All right. Well,
Okay.
all right. I think we can do a decent job with what we have here. So, okay, thanks. That's all I've got. Thanks for staying late here with us. We'll get these drafts out to you in a few weeks.
Okay, thank you guys.